Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer Kumar from Authentic Journeys, and Anandi Merchant will be joining us today. Before I introduce you, let me bring her in.
I'm Jennifer Kumar from Authentic
And
Journeys,
of course, I hear my own
will be joining us today.
echo
Before
from
I
the live
introduce
stream,
you,
so let me
bring
turn
her
that
in.
off. And the live stream will be on, but I won't hear my echo, thankfully. So let's bring in Anandi.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, Anandi.
Thank you for inviting me here. It's a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much, Anandi. We're happy to have you on our webinar, our only webinar so far in 2021. And before we get started, I do want to introduce you and introduce Authentic Journeys and a little bit about what we're looking for in our presentation today from us and our audience as well, for anyone who's joining us on YouTube and on Facebook. So I'm Jennifer Kumar from Authentic Journeys. I'm the managing director, and I conduct all the training programs through Authentic Journeys. At Authentic Journeys, we have a panel of experts who help us with a wide variety of different things. One of the services that Anandi helps us with through Authentic Journeys and the panel of experts is SEO, online marketing, and related services. So she's not only on our panel of experts, but she does run her own consultancy called Anandi Merchant Digital Consultant. I hope I got that right. And before she takes over, I did want to mention, like I said earlier, we are live on LinkedIn. We're live on YouTube and on Facebook. If you have comments throughout today's session, you can mention those on either platform, but keep in mind that only the comments on YouTube will be shared live here through StreamYard as well, which we can also showcase on the screen, depending on what you're asking and what you'd like us to talk about. We will be addressing your questions throughout the session today, as well as, of course, at the end of the session. So we hope to get your active participation as we go through this really interesting topic. So I think it's time for me to bring in Anandi. She will share her introduction, and then I will also show her visuals whenever she's ready for that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Jennifer, thanks for that. Thank you for the introduction. And yes, I'm happy to be here, and I consult businesses on how to increase their online presence on the internet. Basically, online and internet is the same. So that's what I tell you. And the tweaks you can make to your website to make it more attractive to a search engine so that it can be found more easily and showed to a querer, a searcher, or your potential audience is what I do. I talk about the tweaks and the strategies what you can do to get the results you want. Yes. So Jennifer, now we'll go to my blog, go to the slides I've created.
Okay. So it might not be on the first slide, so might have to go back. I'm not sure. Is this your first slide, Anandi?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Oh, no. I've gone a lot further.
Okay. Well, I'll take it off, and then you can find your first slide, and I'll bring it back up. No problem.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes this happens, but it's all good. Just let me know when you're on your first slide, and I'll bring it back up.
Yeah.
So as we're waiting,
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All set?
All set.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Our topic for today is why is content vital for SEO? To understand that statement, There are many parts to it. Let's break it up. First, we'll talk about what is content in digital marketing. Then we'll talk about SEO. What does it stand for? And then we'll talk about why is content vital or important for SEO, how the two things are related, and what you can do to increase the value or add value to your content so it can be easy to search or look for or find by your audience or the audience you're targeting, and build up a relationship with your customers. Okay, so the first part is what is content. Content, as the word denotes, is anything you create. It can be in the form of blog posts, email newsletters, anything which your audience or your potential audience can read and say, hey, we enjoyed it. Read, see, interact with, anything which communicates or educates your audience about your product or services and builds up a relationship with your audience is content. So do not feel bad about getting out there. There are many ways which you can get out there: by making videos, by writing text. It's you just have to appeal to their sense, and once you do that, you get their attention. You have to keep it by providing some value. And one of the things I'm very passionate about is creating blogs. Every industry out there will and definitely will benefit from having a blog, because through the blog gives you a voice. And you can communicate to your audience, and that's how you build a relationship with them. So when they need a service or a product which you sell or something similar to yours, they will be like, hey, I read something or I saw something, and let me go to this person and talk. Maybe they have an idea of how I get it. So that's why I say create a blog. Okay. Now the next slide is, what is content strategy? Now, it's not you just today it's 2021. It's not 2019 anymore. You cannot just publish a blog post and pray. That approach is wrong. You have to distribute the content you have created. And of course, you have to define your audience, you have to understand your niche, and you have to create content according to what they like. Relevant content. That's where relevant content comes into picture. Now, that's why again, another thing you can add value for is, like, if you're a plumber or if you're a carpenter, if you work with hands, if you're an artist, you can have DIY tutorials on your website, things which resonate with your audience, which your audience finds useful. And one of the things about creating content is you have to be consistent. You have to do it on a schedule. It's not a blog post. You can't create a blog post today and have it distributed all over and then forget your website for another 3 weeks. And then finally you remember. That doesn't work. You have to be consistent, to be on a schedule. And one of the most important things in this is the last bullet point, in which I mentioned indexing your website on search engines. How do you do that? Okay, well, every one of you must be using, if you probably use Google, you must be aware of the free Google tools you have, like Google My Business, Google Search Control. All these are called Google Webmaster Tools. Similarly, a lot of other search engines have their own webmaster tools. Think about Bing. Bing, the search engine Bing, has its own set of webmaster tools. And why is it important to use those? Well, because if someone uses Google as their browser and you have used Google Webmaster Tools, then you're safe. But if someone uses the Bing Webmaster Tool, that means the browser and the search engine, the bot which they're using is the Bing bot, which is related to the Bing Webmaster Tools, which will help the Bing bots to uh, locate and find your website much more easily. And that's why it's important to, have some important search engines and index your websites with them. You can ask a developer to help you with this. Okay. Okay. Now the next part of the sentence, SEO. Most of the people out there would have heard the word SEO, and it stands for search engine optimization. Okay, it is when you make your website attractive to a search engine, or it's like your website saying, hey, look, I can answer the query of the searcher. Pick me, pick me. You have to give the search engine some incentive to come and crawl your website. Okay, the three main areas of SEO are on page, off page, and technical. On page is, I think it's all self-explanatory, but anyway, I'll talk more about it. On page is all the changes you make on your website to make it more attractive. On page is closely related to technical. Again, both of these are done by a team of experts, your developer, designer, and your SEO expert, whether it's your in-house marketing team, or a consultant who does it. But and technical, your page should be able to load quickly. So the design of your web page must be simple enough yet attractive enough for Google to say, like, hey, you know what, this page is nicely made and it's relevant to what you are looking for. Let me show the page. That's all the technical. It's all covered by the technical aspect of the SEO. On page means what changes you make on the page of your website. Everyone must have heard about keywords, relevant keywords. Include those, title of your page, include that. These are some changes you can make. And again, at this point, we need to talk about making a mobile friendly page. That means when suppose if I don't want to browse your page online on a computer, and I want to do it on a website. If the page looks the same on the website, I'll probably have to do something like pinch and zoom to make things look bigger, which creates a negative experience for the user. That is called user experience. So you have to have your design team and the developers work closely together to make sure that this experience is seamless, and your web page can adjust to the size of the device used for browsing. Okay. And now the last bullet point on this page is that SEO states that SEO attracts more traffic and it's better for conversion as compared to paid ads. Okay, and pay, I will like to clarify this. People come back and say, oh, we have to pay for SEO. Well, you pay for the marketing efforts involved in doing SEO. You don't pay for SEO like you pay for having a paid ad on, say, Facebook. If you have an advertisement on Facebook, you pay Facebook and tell Facebook, look, this is the kind of audience, this is the kind of people I'm looking for. You find those people and show them my ad. This is your paid advertisement. You don't do that with SEO. If you have an in-house marketing team, that's why the cost of SEO varies according to the approach and your business model. It's not like that with paid advertisements. Paid ads are different. And well, if the second thing I want to talk about is why is SEO superior? SEO is superior because one, even if your business model changes or there's some downsizing in your marketing team or your marketing efforts, and you decide not to spend that much on marketing in a certain month, still the previous things which you have done in SEO will continue kicking in. Maybe not at the same level as it was before, but you will still continue reaping the rewards. While in paid ads, once you stop paying, that's when your platform, maybe Facebook, Google, or whatever platform you choose to have a paid ad on, will say, you know what? Okay, this is it. Thank you for paying us, but we will, now that you are not paying us anymore, we will not have your paid ad displayed to our audiences. Okay. So things you can, now we move on to a next slide. Things you can do for your on-page SEO, which we talked about. This is very important when you create a blog. When you create a blog, proofread. Try your best not to have grammatical errors on your blog. This might confuse not only your readers, but even your search engines. Make your blog easy to read and your language, the flow of your language, maintain the flow of your language. Like how you would have a normal conversation. You can use the same flow of language on your blog. Imagine you are having a conversation with your targeted audience regarding the topic you want to blog on. And now start writing your blog. This is what is expected from you. And of course, when you upload photographs, make sure they are of good quality. Use the highest resolution you can to improve the user experience of the people around you. And the last bullet point here is simplify the layout to make the information easy to find by the audience. Think of 2 web pages with a navigation menu. The first one, you do 2 or 3 clicks and you find an answer to your query. On the second website, you have to go looking for your query and you can't find, you have to navigate through a maze of drop-down menus. After 4 clicks, you are like, oh God, I still can't find the information I'm looking for. Now think in your head, which website are you going to stick with and visit again? So that's how you improve your on-page SEO. And this is where to simplify the layout, this is where you can use a good designer, website designer. And of course, the pro tip I've used over here is use keywords in the title tag and the first paragraph. We'll talk about keywords eventually, but keep this in mind. Keywords are very important to SEO and you have to use them. But again, when talking about keywords, remember not to overstuff keywords. Okay, now we talk about another type of SEO, off-page SEO. That's where we need help from other people, not and this is where we make changes. Most of us, when we think of SEO, we don't think of on-page SEO. Most of the things we have thought about is off-page SEO, like guest blogging, or creating content on social media or posting on social media, blogger outreach. All this means that you find a blogger who's relevant to your niche and tell them, hey, look, I have a good blog post, idea for a good blog post. Can I create a blog post on your website? This this arrangement will be beneficial to you and the blogger. You'll get another audience to talk to, and the blogger will have someone create additional content for them, which will give them an increased sense of exposure. People will come and ask questions. You have to understand how to reach your audiences. Okay, that's the main purpose of off-page SEO. The tactics you use to distribute your content mostly fall under off-page SEO tactics and strategies. And the next slide we talk about is technical SEO. Okay, and the first bullet point I put here is make sure your page loads quickly. And think about this. You open your favorite browser, you type in a website, suppose it's xyz.com. Okay, and you're waiting for it. You wait. Nothing happens. It's just crickets. What will happen? You will most likely go to a competitor of that website and say, you know what, the website, I'm not going there. It's too much work just to get in. So that is user experience. And for this, to check how fast your website loads, I have given you a Google tool, which of course the link of it, you can, the URL of the Google tool of this free tool developed by Google will be in your chat boxes. Jennifer,
Yes,
can you share?
I've put that in the chat box, and here we can see it on the screen for a moment.
Okay, see. So this is, I'll show you. Do you want to see how to use it?
Sure, you can show us.
Yeah, this is a free tool developed by Google, which you can use. It just requires you to type in the URL of the web page you're using, and remember at this point, this only checks the speed of your web page, any single page you do, not your website. Your website is a collection of pages. So remember that. This is free. And this is one tool which I really like to use to tell people that, you know what, that you can do this, you can do some technical improvements on your web page to make your web page faster. Maybe you should use smaller photographs, or you can compare photographs. Again, these changes will be handled by a developer. Okay. Okay. Now back to slides. Let's talk. Let's talk about the next slide. The next slide is content is the king. Finding keywords. This term was coined in '96 by Bill Gates, and it's popular even today. As we talked about, that content, and the content is anything you create, and social media is also creating content. Using social media is also creating content, because you interact with your audience, you reach your audience, and you give them something they like. So you're creating content which appeals to your audience. Okay. And if when we talk about content, we have to talk about keywords. Keyword In keywords, you must have heard of the term long tail keywords. Long tail keywords are key phrases that are 3 words or longer. So think about it this way. Instead, you might want to look for Reebok shoes. So in a web page, in your browser, you just type Reebok. You'll get a lot more results than if you type athletic Reebok shoes for men. But that is more specific to what you're looking for. It's easier to rank for. That's what long tail keywords are. They're easier to rank for. So try finding out long tail keywords and using them, because then not only help you rank easier, but create more specific content which talks and appeals to your audience, which is better for conversion. Conversion is when someone from your audience reads your content, interacts your content, and says, hey, you know what? I might like to visit the brick motor store, or I might like to, yeah, they have shown expertise in the area which I want them to. So I'll like to interact with them to know more about the product or services. That's why content, the blog you create, serves as a starting point to the to a starting point for conversion or communication of your audience with your marketing team. And okay, here I have given you an online tool. Again, it's a free tool developed by Google, which you can use to find, which you can use to find out what your audience is looking for and create content around it. Okay, so Jennifer, do we have time to go through Google tools?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay, okay. So you know what? At this point, I'll go through trends, Google Trends.
Okay.
And I'll tell you one very important mistake which people make. Yeah, yeah. Now, can you see me on screen?
I can see you, but I'm
Okay.
seeing your slides, so I'm not sure if you're trying to show Google Trends.
No, I am trying to show Google Trends.
Oh, it's not showing on the screen.
Okay. Okay, you know what? Then let me just talk about why I highlighted this Google Trends. Now that you have the URL, my last bullet point says look for country and use the drop down menu to select which country you are from. What does that mean? That just means that you have to choose the country in which your audience is from. Suppose you're based in India. Right now, the link which I have sent you has the country United States in. But if you're looking for what your audience in India is looking for, you click on the inverted arrowhead over there and you see the drop down menu. You pick your own country, you pick India, and that's how you go. So that will make sure that you are choosing or targeting the audience in the country which they reside. That's about it. It's a free tool. You can explore with it. You can play with it to understand. Any tool is as useful as the person who uses it. Meaning, if you are comfortable with a tool, you can get a lot out of it. If you don't use the tool correctly, then you cannot blame the tool. Every online tool has it might have a steep, every online tool might have a steep learning curve, but once you get over that hump, it's easy. So don't give up, and because the rewards increasing your online visibility for your business is worth it, because that's what helps your bottom line. All I can say is stick with it. Stick with your optimizing efforts and you'll get there. Trust me, you will. I've been in this for a long time. And I know it just sounds hubris when I talk, but yes. Okay. And you know what? When I talk about content in SEO, I would be remiss if I don't tell Jennifer to share some of the things which she has done for her own blog regarding SEO. Okay, Jennifer.
Okay, Anandi. Yeah, I'll share that. Also, and maybe before I share that, maybe I'll see if I can also share. Well, you were trying to share Google Trends. Let me just see if I can bring that up on my side quickly. Oops, that's going to show something else. Let me remove that. That's not going to work. Okay, we'll try to show you that later then. Because I know you did a great job at describing it, but it would be great to be able to share that as well. Oh, guess what? Maybe I can try it here. Let me try it. And then, yes, I can share it from here. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes. So this is Google Trends. What Anandi was saying, you can see on the top right side, you can do the click down box and you can find any country that you want to do your research on. And then it will show some statistics about it. So let's just, for the sake of argument, let's pick India here. So it would show some statistics for different things about India, but it looks a little bit confusing. So you'll probably have to take time to learn how to use this tool. Is there anything you'd like to say, Anandi, before I switch this off?
No, this is good.
Okay, so I'm trying to switch that off. I think that's out now. Okay, so as Anandi was mentioning, and thank you for switching over the conversation to me for a minute, where I can talk about my blog. And although I have been applying these strategies for the last 10 years on my blog, I would also be remiss to say that Anandi was one person who really helped me, especially last year, try to get this back off the ground again. So I'm just trying to see if I can bring up my screen here to show this to you. I think you can see this is the back end of my blog. I use Blogger. What you see on the top here is all 670 posts on my blog. I have 670 posts. Actually, before Anandi started helping me in this journey to update and improve my SEO through an SEO audit, which she'll talk about in a moment, I actually had over 900 posts on my blog. It was pretty crazy. So the first thing she suggested was to go through my blog post by post, which was tedious and, quite time consuming with 900 posts, to go through all the posts and try to really figure out which ones are getting the most hits, and try to also figure out which are the most relevant to my audience, and then remove those that might not be getting a lot of hits or are not relevant anymore. So I actually pared from 900 down to, about 625. Yeah, that's quite a lot of difference there. So, and so that happened last about a year, maybe a year and a couple months back. So in May of 2020, I was down to 625 posts. And at that time, so since that time, I've obviously made 50 new posts, written 50 new posts. And as Anandi said, you need to be consistent in your posting. Otherwise, that also affects how frequently that you're getting hits on your blog and your SEO and all of that stuff. So when I'm in the back end of Blogger, anyone who uses Blogger would see something very similar. You can see your all-time hit count. So around year and 2 months back, I actually made it to 3,400,000. So I'm still crossing some milestones, but they give you some options here of how frequent, how long you want to see your or the timeline you want to see your stats for. So I'm going to change this to all time. Yes, Anandi, were you?
Date range.
Date range, yes, thank you. The date range, yes. So here you can see the overall trajectory of my website, or my blog, actually. So some might be wondering why I want to show the whole thing. Well, here you can obviously see that somewhere between 2015 and 2017, I got a really lot, the most hits per day, per month, per period. And then it went down. It was like a free fall. And that was basically because starting in the beginning of 2017, I really stopped posting. I really wasn't posting very frequently or often, or regularly is actually what I want to say. So so between 2017 and as you can see, the lowest point here in 2019, it just kind of kept going down. And somewhere around the beginning of 2020, I wanted to start updating my blog and getting better SEO, better hit counts, and get back to where I used to be. And that's when Anandi started helping me, and you can see it kind of started going up. Ironically, I started getting a lot more hit counts as I took off posts. Some people think you need more posts. As Anandi taught me, the more the posts are targeted toward my audience and the better they fit the SEO, actually the fewer I needed and the more hits I started getting. And also she had done an SEO audit, which helped me to find broken links and all other different types of things in the back end of my blog. So you can actually see the hit count kept going up and up and up. And now I'm getting somewhere around 800 to 1,500, or on really good days, 2,000 hits a day. Whereas I would say, maybe in the beginning of 2020, it was somewhere around 200 to 500 hits a day. So I would definitely say that this improvement in hit counts on my blog is not just due to my own, hard work and effort, but more to Anandi coming in and doing some of this work and helping me through this process. So I think I can actually try to transition this back to Anandi, and she can share some more from her arsenal of ideas and tips.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that glowing testimonial. But yeah, this really is more of your hard work. I just told you what to do, and then you applied those strategies. Yeah. Okay. So now what we are talking about, Jennifer talked about the content was targeted towards your audience. And that is very important. You cannot, you have to remember the audience you are writing for. If you're writing for, say, maybe your if you're writing for a series, the audience you're trying to attract is a college going crowd. uh, it would be appropriate if you're targeting younger kids. It would be appropriate to use funny cat videos at some time, but that can be an overkill. Don't try to use such strategy that people get fed up of it and they say, you know what, I'm not getting any value out of reading this blog. I do not want to spend an hour or two with her. I have limited time, so I will not visit their website. So that comes when we remember the word EAT: expertise, authoritative, and trustworthy. For trustworthy, I'll have to say something about, please do not plagiarize. Do not copy your content from somewhere else and have it pass off as your own. Because eventually it will catch up with you. And when they catch up with you, you'll incur a penalty. Penalty means your blog will not rank or it will not be read for a specific amount of time. Of course, that's not the end of the world. You'll get out of it, but you don't want to put a dent in your SEO efforts. So you follow the rules. Do not try to game Google. Fact check your content. Do it every week, every fortnight, every 2 weeks, whatever frequency works for you, works best with you. Do it, because humans and algorithms are your Google bots, the spiders, your Bing bots, the spiders that crawl your website or your blog and say, oh, this this blog has content which is relevant to the search query of the browser. And that's how they pull up your content and display it to whoever is looking for your content. Again, because of that, you should have relevancy. Your blog should be relevant to the audience you're trying to attract. You can market your content using social channels: Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Pinterest, TikTok. I never mentioned TikTok, but again, you have to remember the demographics. Like if you're selling shoes or trendy clothes, or you have a line for t-shirts, it targeted at young people or younger people, college going crowd in their early 20s, teens or early 20s. It makes sense for you to engage your audience with TikTok. But if you are selling a product to a higher demographic, a demographic which falls in a higher age, for a serious business professional, if suppose your service is not targeted to them, and it's a complete waste of using TikTok as your social media. You can, but if you do not know where your audience is, how will you engage them? That's the entire point of what I'm trying to tell you. You have to know the demographics. You try to have to know what your audience like. Be in their shoes. think what will attract them. Speak to them. Maybe you can do things like you can have surveys in which they actually tell you about what they like. But once you get an opinion of what it is, you can figure out what content resonates with them. The next thing is about emailing. You mail out your newsletter, your blog updates, coupons, discount coupons. Okay, and this symbol is of MailChimp. Many of you might have seen this as a platform for email marketing. This is where you reach out to your audience who wants to interact with you and your service or your product. Keep in touch. And well, if you have a brick and mortar store, that's where coupons and discounts come into place. Suppose you're a pizza parlor, a pizzeria. You will not have mailing, you will not have newsletters, but you will want to send coupons or discount codes to your customers. You can share them on things like Google My Business, other Google tools, other online tools, or you could email it out to your mailing list and say, hey, there, come to my store, show me this coupon on your phone, show me this discount code on your phone, and we will give you a discount. That's the use of email marketing and mail. It's not just mailing out newsletters, but you could mail out a lot more. It's all about reaching your customers and talking to them, interacting with them. The last thing I want to talk about is videos. Videos get 75% of all online traffic. So videos is another piece of content creation which you need to do. They boost brand awareness. Think of it this way. Are you more likely to watch a video or read a read a 4-minute blog post? You get your answer. That's what makes videos so popular. You can have different videos like testimonial videos. You can have advertising videos to talk about your product. You can have videos where you can have real clients talk about what they like in your service. You can do such a video. You can do such videos. Like I have had clients who's a weight loss who's a weight loss doctor, and he has clients talk about their own weight loss journeys and a video about that on the website. And that keeps on getting hits because people like to hear real life stories which they can relate to. That's what I'm emphasizing. When you create content which can relate to your audience or which your audience can relate to, your content gets more views. Keep that in mind the next time you create content. Well, we had a question and answer, and any one of you who has any questions about my presentation or needs to get in touch with me, you could do that through my newsletter. You just have to sign up on the link Jennifer has provided right now, which will blog about digital marketing, which I do. It will help you get a better understanding of what digital marketing is and what you can do to improve that. And well, if you don't want to do that, you can always write to us. We'll be happy to hear from you. This is our addresses, and both of us, Jennifer and I, we monitor our mailboxes regularly, our websites, and this is, and yeah, We love to hear from you.
Great.
Thank
So
you.
as of right now, Anandi, I don't see any questions. I did put the link on the screen, as you can see. It's kind of a hard one to grab from the screen, so I'm making a tiny URL for that right now. And let me put that up on the screen. That might be a little bit easier, but of course, anyone who's watching this on YouTube could always click the link under the chat box as well. So this would be the tiny URL that will take you to the website for signing up for Anandi's newsletter.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yes.
Well, no questions often means that we have done a good job of explaining.
I hope, yes, I hope so. That seems like a good way to wrap up everything today. We definitely explored a lot of different topics under this header of SEO marketing, and how to increase your hits on your website through SEO. Is there anything else you'd like to add today, Anandi?
I think that's it. You have covered all the topics, and that's about it. And thank you for being there.
Perfect. So thank you, everyone, whoever did tune in for whatever time period you've been here today. This will be available online for you to watch as well. We thank you for your time today and hope to see you again. Please get in touch whenever it calls to you. We're here to help you out. Okay, thank you, everyone, and have a good rest of your day.